We leave it at that, viewers, and shift our focus to some more news coming in. United States has halted the funding for COVID lab based in Wuhan in China. The federal funding for the Wuhan Institute of Virology was stopped after it allegedly failed to provide documents about safety and security measures. The Department of Health and Human Services in US also warned the lab to cut off funds permanently, alleging that the Chinese facility isn't compliant with the federal regulations. Joining me at this point in time is Dr. D.K. Gupta, Chairman and Managing Director of Felix Hospital. Thank you for taking out your time, Dr. Gupta, and speaking with us on Mirror now. My first question to you, sir, is that 7 million people across the world died due to COVID pandemic, and the controversial Wuhan lab has failed to provide documents about safety and security measures, which is why the US has now decided to suspend its funding. How do you see these developments?
I think this is the most awaited decision from the US federal authorities. I think it should have taken much more before. It is delayed, and there should be strict and stringent action against this lab, because we all know that the origin of this virus is nearby to this lab only from the market, that is only 10 to 15 miles from this Wuhan laboratories. And the laboratories, we all know that they are making bioweapons, they are doing re-engineering, they are for the most virulent bacteria and virus inside this lab, and the data is not shared with anybody. And the outbreak was also hidden by, also that not declared with, not shared with the WHO or any other competent authority by China. And because of that, the outbreak took the pandemic role. And that pandemic killed millions of people across the world. So I think this decision is late, but still be thankful to the US authority that at least something has been done for this.
Right, Dr. Gupta, also we know that US has been time and again pressurizing China over transparency on COVID origin. Penalizing the lab is the most drastic action the US has taken so far, as you rightly mentioned that it was most awaited. But just 3 weeks ago, the US intelligence said that there was no direct proof that COVID-19 stemmed from Wuhan lab leak.
There are many other studies from Europe, from other countries across the world. They have done investigation based on fact data and lots of analysis. They have proven it that there is a suspicious role of China for this COVID outbreak, and it was most probably from this lab only. The virus was genetically re-engineered, and accidentally it leaks from this lab, and it took an outbreak to nearby that market, and from that market it is spread to the Chinese other cities. And during that time, because of this leakage was there from the lab, they hide the fact, and they didn't declare it to the WHO or any other health authorities. Therefore, the epidemic and pandemic came to the world, and we have lost millions of lives because of this irresponsible behavior of Chinese authorities and non-transparent. We all know there is no democracy, and they don't even the scientists. Many scientists have been killed. They have been jailed because they have shared some data that is not according to their government officials, and that was favoring that the Wuhan lab is responsible for this outbreak. I think we all know there is no point of discussion on this point, I think.
Right, as we know, the world has been cornering China after the COVID pandemic, and this step by US, how do you see is going to affect China and US as well, and what help does it really make to the world when we do not yet know the origin of COVID-19?
I think we all know China is very powerful economic country, and they have like dominance in the world economy and world globally politics also. So I think because of this dominant nature of China, the countries like England and the US and other developed countries, they were not able to take strict stringent actions against this China. Now this is high time. Like, we don't want second episode of such pandemic in world. We don't want millions of people should be killed because of these bioweapons and bioengineering viruses or bacteria. Therefore, I think all the authorities, be it WHO, be it UNICEF, be it other global authorities, those who controls the different compliances across the world in different countries, and the different world global power like G20 we are having in India. These all countries should take strict action. They should at least corner of this China, so that they should know it should not be done again, or they should also make strict pressure, strict compliance on the China. Everything, whatever they doing in their genetic labs or engineering lab, even the nuclear weapons, everything should be shared with the global platform, so that everybody should know, and there should be trust and transparency from the China that is lacking right now.
Right, Dr. Gupta, let's go back to our discussions that we would have back when the pandemic was, of course, in rise. How would you explain it could have been possible that this lab leak occurred?
I think if that message and the information has been shared immediately with the outbreak happened in this China market, Wuhan market, we all know that, and if the information from China has been shared properly to the all authorities, health authorities across the global countries, because we all know this is an infectious disease, this is a contagious disease, and it is a notifiable disease as per WHO guidelines also and the national guidelines also. If it has been shared properly on time, then definitely we were be able to control it, confine it to the local China level only, and WHO can be played much major role, because they were also very lenient towards China in initial stages, and they also did stringent curtailing like initiatives to curtail this outbreak from going to be pandemic in next 3 or 4 months only. So I think that there has been lots of non-compliance from different authorities, being China, being WHO, being other regulatory authorities. Even the other countries, like, they have not put pressure on China, and they were just blaming. There were just verbal arguments on the press, on the media. There was no ground legal actions or any legal compliance from the other countries towards China, so that it has been played a significant or responsible role or accountable role towards the global health.
Right. Absolutely, Dr. Gupta. Well, US hasn't found any conclusive evidence that the virus emerged either through animal to human transmission or a lab accident. It has identified those significant breaches in safety and hence has suspended its funding. Thank you for speaking with us on Mirror Now.